Khalid and his army now return to Jerusalem, which on this map is Hiroshima, in case you were wondering. And when they get there, the Romans have largely abandoned it. The Roman military has. But there's enough people manning the walls that you can't get in. The Archbishop of Jerusalem, a man named Sophronius, by the way, a Christian Arab, a loyal Roman citizen, indicates he's willing to negotiate, but only with Umar ibn al-Khattab, the Caliph. Sophronius comes out of the gates weeks later to meet the Caliph because he sees the Caliph's army arrive. And as he's approaching, he sees a man leading a camel. The Arab army is being led by a man leading a camel with a man on the camel. So Sophronius, he's got a giant red hat, because he's also a cardinal, right? He's got gold tassels, actual gold, hanging from his hat. He's covered in gold jewelry. He's wearing red robes. He's covered in perfume. He's on a lectica. The lectica was the couch that the Romans would ride, and then they'd have like 4 or 8 men, depending how big it is, carrying it. And then he has 2 men, one on each side, fanning him. Of course, right? That's what Jesus would want from his bishops. It's exactly right. And he's coming out on this lectica being fanned. And he comes up to the guy on the camel, and he says, where's the Caliph? And the guy on the camel does like this. He nods with his head at the guy leading the camel. So Sophronius turns to the guy leading the camel and goes, where's the Caliph? And the guy leading the camel says, I'm the Caliph. And Sophronius goes, dude, you're dressed in rags. The guy's pants were mended multiple times. His shirt was mended multiple times. And he goes, no, I'm the Caliph. And Sophronius goes, you've just conquered Iraq and Syria and all of Palestine minus Jerusalem. How is it you're so poor? And the Caliph goes, well, why would I collect wealth? We're not doing this war because I'm trying to plunder anything. I'm a humble man with humble needs. I just need good meal. And then Sophronius goes, why aren't you riding the camel? And Omar goes, that's my servant on the camel, and we take turns so that neither one of us gets exhausted. At this point, Sophronius is like, oh, what? Who just conquered us? What are these, Marxists? And so Sophronius gets off the lectica because he's shamed off of the thing. And he says, okay, I want to talk to you about our surrendering the city to you. And the Caliph says, I have an idea. Let's walk to the city and I'll tell you what I was thinking the terms would be. So we'll start there. And Sophronius goes, yes, of course. And as they're walking, Umar ibn al-Khattab says, why don't we do this? All Roman politicians leave Jerusalem. You just go, if you're a politician. So if you're a top bureaucrat, an officer, and you can take anything you can carry. So you can take gold, as long as you can carry it. And Sophronius goes, okay, that's reasonable. And then what else? And the Caliph goes, oh no, I was thinking that's it. We don't do anything else. And Sophronius goes, wait a minute, I am really confused. So when us Romans capture a city, we enslave a segment, we plunder the city, probably a little bit too much raping too. We might even burn some of it just for grins and giggles. And then we declare it to be ours. What about that? And Umar ibn al-Khattab goes, no, we're not going to do any of that. No plundering, no raping, no enslaving. We don't do that stuff. And then Sophronius goes, oh, but you're going to seize property in the city. And the Caliph goes, no, we're not going to take anybody's property. We're going to leave the city exactly like it is. The only thing I want to do is eject the Roman politicians with whatever they can carry. And Sophronius goes, there's nothing to negotiate. Yeah, we surrender the city this instant. I don't understand, actually. They walk into the city, and this is a holy city to them, because Jesus is holy to them, because the Jews were holy to them. And so they see this as a holy city. Sophronius goes, tell me about your religion, as they're walking through the streets. And so Umar ibn al-Khattab starts telling him about Islam. Sophronius goes, it just sounds like a variation of Christianity. I feel like our religions are shockingly similar. And Umar ibn al-Khattab goes, yeah, because they are. I mean, we thought we were doing Judaism 3.0. It never occurred to us that we were going to be received as being so different. And he goes, okay, since you've given us such amazing surrender terms, and because I feel such kinship with your religion, will you do me an honor? Will you come to my church and pray in your Muslim way next to me as I pray in my Christian way? And Umar ibn al-Khattab goes, never. And Sophronius goes, why? He goes, I'm the Caliph. The first place I pray in Jerusalem is going to become a mosque. The Muslims will take it and they will create a place of worship for Muslims, and you will lose it. And I don't want you to lose your church. And Sophronius goes, okay. What if we find an empty piece of Jerusalem and we just pray there? And Umar ibn al-Khattab goes, yes, I accept. An empty piece, something that nobody owns. So they go and they find an empty lot and they pray. It is a mosque today, that spot, commemorating the first place that the first Muslim Caliph prayed in Jerusalem. He nailed it. He knew what was coming. And he saved the Church of the Holy Sepulchre for Christians, because that's the church Sophronius wanted him to pray in. At that point, the Caliph says, I want to see the Temple Mount. And Sophronius goes, why? And the Caliph goes, because it's holy. It's holy to everybody. It's holy to Christians, it's holy to Jews, it's holy to Muslims. And Sophronius goes, nah, we haven't been treating it as holy to anybody. And Umar ibn al-Khattab goes, what do you mean? And so Sophronius says, so after we tore down the second temple of Solomon, when we conquered Palestine, we turned the Temple Mount into a garbage dump to punish the Jews. And the Caliph goes, what do you mean? And Sophronius goes, yeah, there's like 500 years of refuse on that thing. It's just a garbage dump. And he goes, show me. They walk up to the Temple Mount, and the Caliph can't believe what he's looking at. He falls on his knees, and he begins clearing the garbage by his hands. His army sees their leader on his knees clearing garbage, and they run up, and they start clearing the garbage themselves. And they clear the garbage off the Temple Mount. The Caliph goes, okay, I want to meet some of the Jews living in Jerusalem. And Sophronius goes, there are no Jews in Jerusalem. And the Caliph goes, what do you mean there's no Jews in Jerusalem? The city is holy to the Jews. How could there be no Jews? And he says, well, us Christians, we pretty much murder them every chance we get. We really hate Jews. In fact, in the war we just did against the Persians, the Jews sided with the Persians. And so we murdered 20,000 Jews in Jerusalem and completely purged the city of its remaining Jewish population. And Umar ibn al-Khattab goes, no, this is wrong. You can't do this. And so he turns to a convert to Islam, a Jewish convert to Islam, and he says, I need you to find me 80 Jewish families that were willing to volunteer to move to Jerusalem so we can reestablish a Jewish presence in this city. And that's how the Muslims conquered Jerusalem. And that's the stuff that's left out of your history book.